What's up guys, it's Light Spiral here, and today I'm bringing you a video that was requested by a viewer. His name was, I'm going to call it Li Michael, but it might be Lee Michael, so sorry if I'm messing it up. But shout out to you for leaving this request, and he requested to make a video on how to make a Dragons B10 face team safer. So first of all, for those of you that don't know what the term like a face team means, it means a team that goes straight boss on the final stage. So face teams are typically a lot faster than teams that have to kill the crystals because you don't have to kill the crystals. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure that makes sense. But so I figured this was a pretty good video to make because me personally, I struggled a lot to make my first Dragons B10 team. From when I started trying to make my first team to when I actually made my first team, it took about like 6 months. Now, of course, I made a ton of teams that didn't work and a ton of strategies that just didn't work. And it took me, like 6 months to finally make a team that actually worked. So I've learned a lot since then. I've been able to farm Dragons B10 with like whatever 99 100% success rate for around 8 or 9 months now. So yeah, I've gotten experience on how to make dragons teams. And so first of all, the first thing I want to mention is that a right crystal team, like a team that kills the right crystal and then the boss, will be way easier to make in terms of rune quality, because for the most part, all you need to bring is Vero, on the other hand, Vero, Bella, a Reviver, and Dots, and then you'll probably win it. Stuff like speed debuff, defense buff helps, but for the most part, it's pretty easy to do that. But it's a lot slower than a face team. So, yeah, I'm going to try and help you guys make an actual face team. So first of all, I'll explain the core like things you need to make a face team. So the first thing you need is a smart healer. So what a smart healer means is it's a healer that heals when you need it, not whenever it's up. So examples of not smart healers are, it's like Colleen. Colleen will heal whenever her third skill is ready. She uses it as an attack buff, not as a heal. So Colleen is not good as a single healer. If you're running double healers, you can do a not smart healer. But if you only have one healer, it needs to be smart. Another example would be like Emma. She will use their third skill whenever it's up. So not good for a solo healer. Another example that's really popular is Chasoon. Chasoon kind of falls under both categories because this Amuse skill is not a smart heal, but Fallen Blossoms is. So Chasoon you can maybe get away with as a single healer, maybe not. I guess it depends. But so examples of great smart healers, and one that I'm sure most of you guys have is Bella. Bella will use the heal when it's needed, not just whenever she wants to. So yeah, first thing you need, smart healer. The next thing you need is a smart cleanser. So it's the term smart just means they use it when they need it, right? So Vero, I'm gonna call him. He's not a smart cleanser, but he will do the job of cleansing fine because he doesn't. Since his cleanse is a passive, it doesn't rely on his AI, which means he'll just cleanse every single turn. So you never have to worry about like a derp, or he won't have his cleanse up when he needs it. So Vero will work, but stuff like Kona works as a smart cleanser. But things that don't work as a solo cleanser, and I should put emphasis on if it's a solo cleanser, would be stuff like Lisa. Lisa will use her third skill whenever it's up. So if she's your only cleanser, then sometimes she'll use her cleanse when you have no debuffs, and then you'll get debuffed and you'll get like 3 dots on you, and she won't have the cleanse up for like 4 more turns. So Lisa's not a good solo cleanser. In terms of immunity, most, if not all immunity monsters actually, I think, use their immunity whenever it's ready. and so depending on the cooldowns, you could use him as a solo cleanser. For example, Velajul I know works fine as a solo cleanser because he'll use the cleanse whenever it's ready, but he also gives you immunity. But stuff that just gives you immunity does not work as a solo like cleanser or immunity monster. Like if you have Wusa or Draco, those two will not work by themselves because they just do immunity and they don't cleanse anything. So if you have dots on you and they put immunity up, it's not going to help. Stuff like Delphoid does work, but not as a solo cleanser. I wouldn't, or maybe you could get her to work, but I don't think it's very easy to, at least. So yeah, the first two things you need: smart cleanser, smart healer. Next thing you need for a face team would be a buff stripper and someone who can buff strip pretty reliably with a decent cooldown. So once again, the first thing I think of when I think of buff strip is just Bella, just because like everyone has it, and it's also a smart cleanser. But Bella's strip is 100% chance, reusable in 3 turns, and the AI on the boss stage will only use this if there's immunity up. So on the first 4 stages, she might just use it whenever she wants to, but on the boss stage, this is a smart strip. So Bella works really good. Stuff like Emma has a good buff strip. It's the exact same as Bella's almost. And then there's a couple guys that have like single target buff strips. So, or I don't mean single target, I mean first skill buff strips. So basically, you just need someone that can reliably strip. So if you use something like one of the serpents, I know their first skill has a 75% chance to remove it, but A, it's only a 75% chance, and B, since it's their first skill, they will typically prioritize their other skills first. But so there's a chance that you'll have all your skills ready when immunity goes up, so then you'll do third skill, then second skill, and then your first skill will go, and then even then you only have a 75% chance to activate it, and then you only have a certain percent chance to actually strip it because of the accuracy resistant stuff. So stuff like Shylock or any of the serpents is not a good solo stripper. You could use it as like a bonus buff strip, but don't use it as your only buff strip. So that's the other thing you use. So you got smart healer, smart cleanser, buff strip. Next thing you're going to need is defense break. Now the reasoning for this is if you are attacking the boss, when he gets below 30% HP, he will get increased damage because of one of his passives. So when he gets below 30%, you need to kill him pretty quick, and you need the defense break because if the immunity tower goes off, then you're going to lose your speed debuffs and your dots and defense breaks or whatever, all the debuffs you have. So then the boss can have a really good chance to kill you afterwards. Because if you were to kill the right tower first, you could stack enough dots on the boss that he would never get 30% because he would be at like 35, and if you had like 7 dots on him, he would just die. So you need defense break. Once again, you got Bella for defense break. Stuff like Bernard you could use for defense break, but note that it's wind, so you have a 50% chance to glance, which is not really ideal. Stuff like Darian's got defense break. If you're using a Theomars, which some people use, he's got a defense break, but it's not really reliable. So of course you'd prefer reliable defense break. So the next thing you need, and this is something you need. You need some source of damage that's not dots, because you can't rely on dots if you're doing a face team, because the right crystal can jump in there and remove your dots. So you need like raw damage, like stuff like Spectra works great. This second skill can hit pretty hard if you build them with crit rate. Whatever, I have a ton of damage shows here. Susanoo, you could rune chilling for attack if you want. Sig, he works great. Hua is a popular monster. Theo's popular. Tark is popular, but not really in starter teams. You just need a damage dealer that's not wind, basically. You need damage once the boss gets below 30, you can get a defense break and kill it quick. So that's that. And then this is something that I'm not going to say you need, but I will say it makes your life a million times easier. And this is AoE speed debuff. I think it's insanely important to get AoE speed debuff. To speed debuff the not only the boss but the right tower, because if you slow down the right tower, it makes it so your dots actually have a chance to go off at least, but it also makes it so your defense break stays longer, your actual speed debuff will stay longer on the boss, you will have more time to do damage because the defense break will be up, you can decrease the boss's attack gauge if there's no immunity. It's really good to make sure the boss doesn't have immunity basically. And on top of that, if you don't have speed debuff, let's say Bella is your only buff stripper, Bella's strip might not be up every time the immunity goes, but with a speed debuff, Bella will always get 3 turns before the crystal goes once. So that's why I think it's very good to have AoE speed debuff. And I'm not going to say it's necessary, but I'm going to say it's extremely useful. So I think I described that pretty well. So I'll show you an example of a team that has all these things and a team that's pretty popular. So first, we'll use Vero. He's going to be the cleanser of the team. He will work fine as a cleanser. Next is Bella. Now, I think Bella's extremely good, and I'm sure most of you guys know that he's really good. But in Dragons, it's really good because of was there 6 things I said you needed? I said smart cleanser, smart healer, buff strip, defense break, damage, and speed debuff. So yeah, 6 things. Bella provides 3 of the things. You've got the smart healer, you've got the buff strip, and you've got defense break. So if it provides 3 of the 6 things you want, it's a pretty good monster for it. So we've got the cleanse, we've got heal, strip, defense break. Let's get speed debuff in. Spectra provides speed debuff and damage. So with these 3 monsters right here, you've got all the 6 things that I said you pretty much need. So after these 3, you can kind of just pick and choose what you need. Depending on your runes, some people could do 2 more damage dealers here. Some people might want another healer in here. They might want another cleanser. These 2 also both have buff strips, which is pretty nice. So like Emma is a healer and buff stripper. Lisa is a cleanser and buff stripper. You could use a Hua that does damage and reduces attack bar. Whatever. Another healer, you could use a Verd. You could kind of mess around with what you want. For this case, I'll use Verd, and I won't use Emma because Emma is not really that popular. Let me see what else I have that's pretty popular in Dragons. Shylock isn't that popular, but I still think he's good. And I'll use Shylock because he's farmable. So other than Verd, this team's completely farmable. So you guys should be able to mess around with the team somewhat like this. If you don't have Verd, I'll say right now, you can definitely get it to work with Bernard. But of course, Verd is better than Bernard. There's no way of getting around that. But this team should work as long as all these guys are ruined, which I think they all are. I don't know. We'll find out if one of them gets one-shotted if they don't have runes or something. But yeah, so basically, like I said, the Vero, Bella, Spectra thing, there's a reason these 3 are super popular in Dragons, and it's because they provide a lot of the stuff that you need in Dragons. Like just Bella and Spectra alone provide 5 of the 6 things you need for a face team. So, Bella, Spectra, and a smart cleanser of your choice, and you're pretty good to go. Other options for the Verd and Shylock, like the extra 2 spots, Reviver would work, or if you need a Reviver for this mini boss stage right here, then go ahead and use one. You probably won't need one for any of the other stages, but this stage can be troublesome for a lot of people because the crystals defense break, and then the Zyros will nuke and reset your Bella's heal, and it could reset your Reviver's revive as well. But if your Reviver's tanky enough, it should still be able to survive and wait a couple turns and then revive. So hopefully that can happen for most of you. And yeah, so basically I'll explain all the stuff people do just because I got a little time. So you guys know what Verd does. He makes it so you get a lot of attack bar basically. So that's why I picked him as a support. And then Shylock's an okay support guy in Dragons because he provides an extra buff strip if your Bella doesn't land it, or if Shylock just happens to move before Bella, as well as it provides AoE attack bar decrease as well as single target attack bar decrease. So he's not bad. Also, he's got pretty good base HP. I want to say it's around 10 or 11, maybe even 12,000. I'll check after this run, but so it works pretty well. So you can see here the right crystal just went, and I got the buff strip off from Bella, which is nice. And like I said, I'll show you the runes on all these guys afterwards, and I'll show you that these aren't like OP violent. Well, they're good. These runes are better than what you need to clear it. Obviously, I've been farming dragons for like 8 months or so. Well, not strictly dragons, but I've been able to farm it for like 8 months. So obviously, my runes are better than like the bare minimum stuff you need. But I believe Bella is the only one that's on Violent here. So if you guys don't have any Violent sets yet because you haven't made a Dragons team yet, then don't worry because this team isn't like a full Violent team if you are trying to make it. And this is, whatever, just under 3 minutes, which is not bad at all, especially considering if you're making a Right Crystal boss team, you can probably expect about 5 minutes for a run. So 3 minutes, it seems pretty good compared to that. So I'll show you guys the runes, and then I'll probably call the video after that. But so here's my Verd. I'll just tell you the stats to look out for. The only thing to note here is he's on a revenge set, which is nice, but not necessary. I don't even know if he revenged that game, but you need 100 crit rate. Note he's decently fast, and with this amount of HP and defense, he can survive. So that's that. Here's Bella. Bella is the one and only Violent monster, and if you are to have one Violent monster in your whole team, I would suggest make it your healer, because if you have one healer. If you have two, you don't need it to be your healer. But if you only got one healer, I would recommend, if you got one Violent set to put on someone, put it on your healer. The stats to note on this is, well, note Violent just because it is useful. And then note the accuracy. The accuracy cap in Dragons is 55%. So if you get anything above 55% accuracy, it's like having max accuracy. But so Bella's good enough on accuracy, 180 speed, and this amount of HP and defense is enough for it to survive. So that's Bella. Here's Spectra. The sets don't matter because I just give him stats. Note he's got max accuracy. The crit rate is, if you're using Spectra as a damage dealer, you do need crit rate on him. You don't really need the crit damage, but you do need the crit rate. So my Spectra actually has crit rate slot 4 to make sure I get good crit rate on him. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Let me show you the runes again. Note the speed, and then this amount of HP and defense is enough for him to survive. Next is Vero. So the sets don't matter. He is max skilled, which doesn't matter too much in Dragons, because the dots don't always go off and you can't stun the boss, but he's got max accuracy anyways. He's fast, and with this amount of HP and defense, he can survive. And then last is Shylock, who, he only has 9,000 base HP. I thought he had more than that, so he's not as tanky as I thought he was. But he's got max accuracy, he's decently fast, and this amount of HP and defense is enough for him to survive. So I think that's about all I have to say for this video, guys. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, be sure to tell me in the comment section. Also, if there's any other videos you want to see, you can just tell me that in the comments as well. But that's really all I have for today, though, guys. So may the best of your todays be the worst of your tomorrows.